We've accessed the remand application of the Enforcement Directorate. Let me take you through the key highlights in these papers. Now, the first aspect that is being spoken about is that he used his post to facilitate money laundering by the Aam Aadmi Party. He is vicariously liable for the offence committed by AAP, says the Enforcement Directorate. Kejriwal is responsible for funds used in the election campaign, is another allegation being made over here. He used the proceeds of crime in an election campaign of the Aam Aadmi Party for Goa. The next allegation is that he's liable for the use of 45 crores in the election campaign in Goa, offence which is punishable, committed amongst others by the Aam Aadmi Party. And Kejriwal was at the time of offence in charge of a company, that is the Aam Aadmi Party. Therefore, not only AAP, but Kejriwal shall be deemed to be guilty. This is what is stated in the ED's remand application. Let's also talk about the major charges that came out during the course of the arguments inside the court. The first charge is that Kejriwal is the kingpin of the liquor gate. The second charge is that he's a key conspirator in the excise policy implementation. The third charge is that money from Liquorgate used in the Goa elections that we just mentioned a short while ago. The fourth charge is that he's involved in the handling of the proceeds of crime. The fifth charge is that Kejriwal is involved in corruption conspiracy. Charge number 6 is that Kejriwal demanded kickbacks from the South Group. This is what ASG Raju has presented before the judge in the Rouse Avenue Court today while representing the Enforcement Directorate. All right, and let's quickly take this across to Mahesh Jethmalani. Mahesh Jethmalani, what do you make of the serious charges that have been leveled? For the first time, we see a strong word such as kingpin being used for Mr. Arvind Kejriwal.
Yes, I mean, look, the ED has said he's the mastermind, the kingpin, the linchpin, but not only that, they've backed it up with substantial evidence. I mean, they've pointed out that both in terms of procurement, changing of policy, what he was trying to do was basically substitute the Aam Aadmi Party revenue stream for the state's revenue stream. What he did is he almost made excise on the liquor negligible, and he did that so that he could accumulate lots of money, and the entire retail trade in liquor was given to cronies of his who gave him kickbacks. And this model he learned from the South Group. It started in the South and he adopted it. In fact, he wanted to then partner the South in Delhi because they got this model. And for them to partner him in Delhi and later even Punjab, right? What he did was he asked them to give him a share, a kickback, as the ED put it.
Right.
So he's guilty of the predicate offense. He's guilty of money laundering. But, all this whataboutery, look, that's the ED's case, right? But why don't they deal with the evidence? What is the point of saying that, this is an election stand, you want to win an election by arresting leading opposition leaders, etc. The only other one right now has been Soren, the only other chief minister. But the point is, come to the facts, deal with the evidence which the ED has produced.
Right.
Why do you shy away from saying this evidence is false or fabricated?
Okay, I'll come
because
to this. Yeah.
Allegations are made by evidence.
Right. I want to bring in, as a lawyer, I would like your view on what Abhishek Manu Singhvi, representing Arvind Kejriwal in the court, has said today. He has questioned the grounds of the arrest and says that an approver can be the most unlucky friend who has bargained for his freedom. What he's obviously suggesting is that a lot of the material which is being cited by the ED is on the basis of the statements that have been given by different approvers, and that's the only evidence. They're constantly saying, where's the money, show us the money.
There is a money trail as well. It will come out, right? And let me tell you that there is much more than that. There's a trail of emails implicating him. I'm sure that will all be unfolded. It's not for me to say, it's for ED to bring it out, right? He is the mastermind. The excise policy in Delhi was changed at his instance and implemented by some of his closest cronies who are already in jail and some who should be in jail. And this was replicated in Punjab. So, approvers are the first step. Once you get an approver, you question the approver, right? You may have the link between the South lobby and Kejriwal was actually already in the public domain. But when they arrested Kavita, they probably got further details. Maybe she was also an approver. But an approver's evidence is not zero. An approver's evidence has to be corroborated. And the ED has corroborative evidence.
Right, right. And what do you make of this entire drama surrounding Kejriwal saying that he's going to continue as the chief minister and he will continue to be the chief minister while inside jail? Now, how do you see that playing out, particularly in terms of the governance of Delhi, cabinet meetings or signatures on important papers or important boards, etc., that the chief minister is, ex officio a part of? How do you see all of this impacting, if at all, on the governance of Delhi?
Well, there are two types of politicians. One is the Kejriwal type of politician who will cling to power at all costs. The other is like Lal Krishan Advani, who, when he was implicated in the Jain Hawala scandal, right, he said, I will not re-enter politics till I get a clean sheet.
Right.
Although there were only allegations which were subsequently quashed. Those were allegations, right? The evidence was much weaker and it was quashed by the High Court. Here, we are at a stage where people are remanding him to custody. Is Mr. Abhishek Singhvi, Dr. Abhishek Singhvi, and all the battery of lawyers who defend the opposition leaders saying that every judicial officer who remands to custody accused, right, are all wrong? Please tell us why they are wrong. What is it about their order that is wrong? What is the evidence that they have misread? It's all very well to say this is political, right? But just because you happen to be a chief minister, it doesn't give you immunity from investigation, arrest, and prosecution. That's what the entire opposition is rallying to his cause. Perhaps the entire opposition has feet of clay. Have they read the remand applications? How does the entire opposition know without looking into the details of the ED remand applications? And for that, they must even go back to Kavita's. What's the case?
Right.
This kind of case is built up bit by bit, block by block.
Right.
People who don't understand criminal law talk like this.
Right. Let me also draw your attention to the unique sort of constitutional scheme in Delhi where the LG also has a role to play. And this allows for the Lieutenant Governor to report to the President to suspend the operation of Article 239AA, which governs Delhi, if the LG is satisfied that, quote unquote, a situation has arisen in which the administration of the national capital cannot be carried in accordance with Article 399A, or that for the proper administration of the national capital territory is necessary and expedient to do so. Do you see a possibility of this happening?
Look, arresting and investigating Kejriwal, right? The law must take its course. About the invocation of the LG's powers, it's within his discretion, right? At this stage, I don't know whether that's necessary. That's all I will say. It's not for me to say. I can't. It's got to be the subjective satisfaction of the LG, right? And it would be impolitic of me to enter into that domain.
Right. There are also those who are, talking about this case and, of course, other cases as well. And they say that the principle of presumption of innocence, does it apply in this case, considering that Kejriwal has not been convicted of any offense yet?
Madhav, the Congress party, right, has used the PMLA when they were in power with the same provisions frequently, right? Mr. Chidambaram used it as finance minister frequently. Now, what do you mean a presumption of innocence? A presumption of innocence is a matter of trial. Investigation, you don't have to, when investigation is concerned, right? You look at the evidence, whether custodial interrogation is required. That depends on the nature of the evidence, the answers of the accused. This is bail. Nobody's saying you're guilty. You're still presumed to be innocent. But even though you're presumed to be innocent, the question is, does your conduct and does the evidence warrant your custodial interrogation for you to be in custody and answer questions then?
Right. Right. And also one other very important aspect that has been recorded in this remand note, there's been a lot of buzz about whether Aam Aadmi Party and, what its role will be. And they have recorded that the AAP engaged in money laundering through Arvind Kejriwal. And in a sense, the entire party appears to have been implicated under Section 70 of the PMLA Act. What are the potential consequences that you see, legally speaking, in terms of its implications for the Aam Aadmi Party?
Well, I mean, deregistration if it's proved, but that's a long way off. At the moment, even the the Aam Aadmi Party as an entity will be an accused person if it's entire, just like a company, right? A company becomes an accused person in a criminal case when its brains trust, normally its CEO, managing director, board of directors. If they act criminally, then the company is all, because the company is an incorporate, it's an incorporeal body, right? It acts through its alter ego, namely the board of directors. So if those who are the alter ego, in other words, those who act, who have the mens rea, if they can be considered to be the alter ego, then the corporate entity or the society or the political party is also deemed to be liable.
Right. My last question to you. You mentioned, of course, about how the Congress has come in on this. It's not just the Aam Aadmi Party. And in fact, last night we saw several top India bloc leaders come in on this. We've seen Mamata Banerjee, Akhilesh Yadav, Sharad Pawar, to just name a few. How do you see this playing out politically? Do you see the opposition coming out unitedly on this issue? Because this is something that they're all talking about, the alleged misuse of agencies.
Madhav, I'm afraid they're united in crime and they will fall by that unity. They will all destroy each other by accepting each other's crimes and becoming partners in crime. They will all meet a very sorry end.
All right. Mahesh Jethmalani, thank you so much for talking to us and breaking that down for our viewers. Of course, very complicated provisions of law. And at this stage, of course, a subject matter of much debate as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Madhav. Thank you.
You're watching